So over the years, quite a few big YouTubers have made videos that are entitled something like, how to improve your aim, or, tips to get better. While I think some of these videos are interesting, I think most of them are mostly useless. The video I always think about is a video that Drifter made back in the Black Ops 2 era, where he suggested that players to improve their aim. He suggested that they use pistols for 5 or 6 games, and then once they come back to using a regular gun, it's going to be so much easier. And that's how you improve your aim. And while that does help a little bit, in my opinion, my method is a lot easier, and it takes up a lot less time too. And it's far more effective. And all I do is I start custom games, go with 17 bots. I use the FN44 on this map, and I just kill bots over and over until I feel like my aim is right. And if you think about it, it makes sense because it's just repetition. You're seeing enemies, you're pointing at them, and you're shooting them, and then you're going to the next person. You're getting frenzy kills, the super kills, the mega kills all the time. If you get 120 kills, for me that would take about 7 or 8 minutes. That's like, for me, that would be like 3 or 4 games in 7 minutes. That's 3 or 4 games worth of aim practice in 7 minutes. And you get rid of those early, jitters that you have. Not really jitters. The stiffness with the first couple games you start playing, you feel awkward, you're not in the flow, blah, blah. For me, killing bots for all totally gets rid of that. Now, some people will be like, I don't want to play against bots because, it's boring and this and that. It's like, just do it for like 5 minutes. That's all you gotta do. To me, it's not boring because, I like to kill things, But I do have one other tip when it comes to aiming. I don't really like to call it a tip, really. Just a suggestion. But, some players use a 3 or 4 sensitivity because that's what the pros use. And some players use a 10 or 11 or 12 sensitivity because that's what the snipers use. And, if you're an arena player or whatever, you should use a 3 or 4 sensitivity. And if you're a sniper, you should use a whatever high sensitivity. But if you're a person that uses red guns in public matches, in my opinion, the best thing you can do is using a 6 or a 7, maybe an 8 sensitivity. And the reason why is that with pros, they use a 3 or 4 sensitivity because they're trying to get the best aim possible, because they're trying to win individual gunfights. And they're playing against other pros, and pros are awesome. They have amazing aim. So that's just a little difference that wins gunfights for them. But if you're playing in a public match, you have good aim, you're going to have a huge advantage over everybody. You know what I mean? Because they suck. And... in a public match, you're going to be able to have multiple enemies in front of you, kill one enemy, snap to the other quick, snap to the other one, check around, turn directions to make sure that, your field of vision, you can turn on enemies, you can play so much more aggressive, get in their face, outgun them. That's how you can play with a little bit higher of a sensitivity. You can just play so much more aggressively. I play on a 6. I'm thinking about playing on a 7 eventually, but I'll probably just stick with this because I'm good at this. But so that's another thing that I always suggest people. I think, if you're a red gun player and you use like a 9 or 10 sensitivity, like the easiest way for you to get better is to turn that down a little bit, though. I think it's a bigger mistake to use a higher sensitivity for a red guns player, like a 10 or 11, than it is for them to use a 3 or a 4. But I think 6 or 7 is the best place to be. I guess in general, I think most the tips I see that these YouTubers have are kind of not very useful, because Call of Duty is a flow game. It's in the flow, and it's hard to keep all that shit in mind while you're playing it. That's why the way you figure out how to be good at something is you watch people that are good at it, and you try to emulate them. And then you can figure out your own style. A lot of times you hear bands, they talk about their early days where, the early days they were just a Nirvana ripoff, but then they ended up after doing it for a while, they end up figuring out their own style, and that's one of the things you have to do. And when you watch players play, don't just listen to what they're saying. Sort of watch, really watch what they're doing. And you're going to subconsciously pick up some things, even without them saying it, without you noticing it. You're going to pick up some tips, and it actually helps. And for me, watching other people play warms me up a little bit, so I'm ready to play even more. It gets me a little excited, you know. I'm sure maybe some of you have had that effect before. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. This is Turner Does Gaming, and please subscribe to my channel. It's a great channel. I'm really bad at ending videos. Thanks.